Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children all over the globe. Today we're going to be talking about reverse diets. And you might be asking yourself, what is a reverse diet? Reverse dieting is the act of increasing your food intake after a calorie-restricted diet to promote long-term weight maintenance. In other words, it's the act of resuming more of your normal eating habits after a cut without gaining all the weight back, right? This can be applied in a number of different circumstances, and if you're at this long enough, you will run into at least one of these. For many of you, this is a brand new term you've never heard of before. I can assure you that we didn't make it up. There's plenty of research to back up the information we're providing today on the call, and tonight we're specifically going to go into some case studies of our personal clients. Since it's hard to trust a 240-pound dude that's telling you to eat more, do less cardio, I'm going to kick it over to the smartest, most beautiful coach I know, Miss Allie Baker. So I'm going to give Allie control here.
Hi, guys. So reverse dieting was a concept that I learned back in, it was probably 2015, 2016, after I had competed for 2 seasons where I was eating close to 1,200 calories or less. To get stage lean, and then I was not bringing myself to the appropriate amount of calories. I was just kind of eating whatever after show. I was not tracking as consistently, and eventually my body started to fight me back. I was trying to diet, and my body just said, no, we're not doing that, and it actually started gaining. I started gaining weight eating 1,400 calories. So then I did my first reverse diet. It was probably 8 months, not long enough. So the second time I went to compete again, tried to come back and do the same thing. My body fought me again. Eventually I learned the lesson and I stayed in a maintenance phase for 2 years. That was the longest I've sat at maintenance. And I probably gained 5 to 10 pounds in that time. Just because I had never given my body long enough to stay in a reverse diet. The last reverse diet I went into, I stayed there for 1.5 years, and I didn't gain any weight back. I guess I won't say any, probably 3 pounds from where I was at my lowest in dieting. But the longer you can get your body to stay in a reverse diet, eat maintenance calories, you will notice that you change your body's natural set point. So I probably weigh the same as when I started, but it was really hard for me to stay at 135, 138, I guess, is where I am sitting currently. But it was really hard to stay there. I would go up to, I have been as heavy at one point as 170. My body would just fight me. But over time of teaching my body that it is okay to eat more calories, it is okay to be here, I had to teach my body to trust me again because I had dieted so severely for so long. I had done a lot of metabolic damage, which kind of gave me so much love for reverse dieting because it really taught me to eat more, fuel my body right instead of always striving to eat less. And it's helped me teach so many other women to do the same thing. So tonight I'm going to go into, I've got 4 client case studies that I worked through. So we'll go through them and then you guys can ask any questions at the end. So 1 second, let me get that pulled up. And Adam, can you give me screen share or host access? Sorry. I already have it. Okay. Because it was not letting me share my screen. Okay. So the first client I'm going to show you tonight, her name is Meg Garcia. Meg she is a mom of 1 little boy. She's 36 years old, I do believe. She came to me eating about 1,200 calories a day. Since then, when I first started working with her, I was like, we can't do this low of calorie. I had to reverse her up to higher calories before I could diet her. So I got her up to 1820. We hung out there for about 4 months, which technically isn't as long as I would like a client to stay. Typically, I would like a client to be in a reverse diet for as long as they were dieting. So if you dieted for 6 months, I'd want you to be in a reverse for 6 months. With Meg, though, with her just coming to me and she was weighing close to 200 pounds at the time we got together, I didn't want to keep her there for a very long time. So we stayed there for about 4 months, didn't gain through that time. And then I started cutting her at 1,800 or 1,820 calories. And let's kind of show you where Meg started and where she got. So we went for about 6 months of dieting from 1,820 calories to 1,630. So only about 200 calories is all we really dropped her. I didn't think about how long it was going to take me to scroll through the video, so you guys will have to bear with me as I get to the bottom of the screen. But Meg was a trooper. She came in, she had a really optimistic attitude, and I think that helped a lot. I think the more positively you can think about it and have like a good outlook of, I'm doing this for a reason, this is going to help my health, I really think that the results, what you train your body to do, your mind is going to follow. So if you think positively about it, your body is going to respond more positively. And Adam, I didn't think about how there might be a little lag here because we're both on this, so my internet's not running as quickly.
Yeah, and if you want to just show the graphs, like the weight loss graphs.
You think that would be enough than showing pictures?
I think so.
That might be a little easier to, I guess, show. Okay, so this will be easier for sure. So change of plans, I won't go. Okay, so we've been together. She was 200 pounds when we started, and she wouldn't get on the scale for the longest time. She wouldn't log it in here because if she would see it, it was very triggering to her, so I let that be. So we got her to 180, and she started finally putting her weight in, 187. So this is her first diet phase we went through. And like I said, those calories, we were at 1,820, and then we got to 1,630. Then I reversed her again, and I got her up to 2,000 calories this time, which was really, really great. And in that time, so we went from 163 at her lowest, and she got up to 173. So she gained about 10 pounds in about 6 months. Then we went into another dieting phase, but this time she got clear down to 159. And this time when we cut her calories, we went from 1,900 calories is where we started her deficit. So 100 almost 100 calories more than where we started her first one. And we only had to get down to 1,675. So she was able to keep some calories there, and we got less on the scale. And she's kept a very positive attitude going into the second reverse, which is really great because we've been reversing now for 6 months. And this time around, we got to 168. So whereas last time we topped out at 174, we've changed that set point to we're at 167 or 170. 179 was her highest, but where is she now? She's at 165. 165. So 159 to 165, and we're probably going to start another dieting phase in the next few months. And I currently have her eating 2,100 calories. So that's where we got her to the highest at her reverse. So she started eating an extra 100 calories this time around in her reverse. So Meg is definitely a rock star. It's really cool because she's trying to change her whole family's life. So her little boy will follow her around. He calls his muscles mommy muscles because she has been the leader in that way, which I think is super cool. Most of the time, a little boy would look up to their dad, but the way he looks up to his mom is very, very cool. So the next case I will show you is Rebecca Brown. Becca is 25 years old, but she came to me eating not even 1,200 calories. She had always been an athlete. And when she came to me, she was really trying to starve herself to get back to her athletic body, and it was not serving her. She has been a client with T4E for 5 years, and so I don't have all of the data going clear back, but I will show you from where I have worked with her. So this was 2020, right before the world shut down, and she was eating about 1,200 calories here. So we worked her calories up while everything was kind of shut down. In February of the next year, we went ahead and started a dieting phase. So she was eating 2,200 calories at this point. And after dieting her, we only got as low as 1,675, and I got her down to 129. So from 147 to 129. And then let's go over her last dieting phase. We went again. We put her back into reverse, got her up to another. This time we didn't go quite as high because she wanted to keep her leanness. She really wanted to go a little slower. She wasn't trying to put on as much muscle this time around. So we started dieting her, and we only had to get her calories to 1,850. And we got her back to 129 again this year. And we started a reverse. She's currently at about 1,850 calories because we're going to get very, very slow. Because she wants to, because she's been so athletic, she's built a lot of muscle. So right now she just wants to keep her body at a lower set point without trying to retain any muscle. So she's still eating pretty well, but it's very, very cool what the body can do. Let's go to Jen now. Jen came to me wanting to diet for her wedding. And luckily, she had been eating pretty decently when she came to me. She was eating about 1,850 calories when she came to me. So I didn't really have to change much with her diet at first. We just had to like tighten a few things up. She wasn't getting quite enough protein in. So we had to add a little more protein, decrease a little bit of fat. We dieted for 6 months, I do believe, for her wedding. Okay, so we started at 138-ish, dieted her for her wedding. From April to December, losing about 10 pounds for her wedding. And then we slowly started reversing her. So we went from 1,850 calories to 1,570 calories, which is about the lowest I like to take clients is around that 1,500 range. I don't really like to take them under that because I've seen what it can do to your metabolism, seen what it can do to your hormone levels. And I just don't think it's worth it to get any lower than that. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you explain some of the symptoms somebody might see from when they're in that chronic caloric deficit and the body's starting to fight them and giving them warning signs?
Yeah, so you might see no appetite, zero appetite. You're not having any kind of hunger cues, very fatigued. Even after, getting 8 hours of sleep, you might still feel really tired. A lot of muscle soreness. Maybe your hair feels more brittle, not as like soft or shiny. Digestion symptoms. So like maybe you're not going to the restroom very often. And so I didn't want to get her to that point. So 1,570 was about where we called it. And then from December until today, we're only up a very small amount. So 128 to 132, and she's eating 1,920 or 1,925 calories. Numbers are hard, guys. Okay, so that is Jen. And Jen is 31, just got married, and I think it's really great that she's also been with the team. All of these clients that I've shown you, they've all been with the team. I would say 4+ years. All 3 of those women. This one is the last one I'm going to show you is a newer client. She's been with us a year, and she was an exception. I did diet her for a year. We recently just started her reverse diet. She is a larger woman. So because she was obese by most whatever standards, I really wanted to help her get to a better place before we started reversing. So I really wanted to get her under the 200 mark. So we started at 238, and by adding strategies in like diet breaks, refeed days, that helped us keep momentum rolling, because we lost from January of 2021 to we're kind of still losing a little bit, and I have her reversing at this point. So we've been dieting for a very long time, but I've kept her calories kind of high. We started at 2105, and we got as low as 1710, and she started feeling very fatigued. She was having a lot of like stress about food. Food was giving her a lot of anxiety, just thinking about it constantly. And to me, that just showed that she had been like dieting far too long. She wasn't mentally in it anymore. So we went ahead and pulled the reverse. So she's been reversing since just the end of December. So we decided to start reversing right around the holidays to start giving her more food, because especially when she started to feel all this anxiety after Thanksgiving, I was like, we can try to push for a few more weeks for fat loss, because she really wanted to get down to under 200. And I was like, we can go for a few more weeks. And then when she started seeing all those signs of like just decision fatigue, overall physical fatigue, I just knew it wasn't worth it to keep pushing her any longer. So we started reversing towards the end of November, got her to, we were at 123 when she stopped losing. I started reversing her calories. And like I said, I have her at 1950, and she's lost even more since then. So she's staying about 122, 123. And in all of these cases, I've had to explain to the women, like, there is benefit in eating more food. Your body isn't meant to keep decreasing, because our bodies are very adaptive. So if we always eat 1,200 calories, we're going to eventually stop losing there. We're going to have to go to 1,100 calories. And then eventually we're going to go to 1,000 calories. You're just going to have to keep digging yourself deeper and deeper. And eventually your body is going to fight you back. So it's better to just see that like my calories are really low. And even though it might suck to increase them right now, I'm not at the place I want to be. It's better to get your metabolism in a really good spot and start losing fat from there, because if not, you're just going to keep spinning your wheels.
And eventually you become metabolically, resistant. Like Allie was saying, how even though she was in an extreme deficit, she was still gaining weight. And, we're all talking just about the weight loss right now, but that's not talking about the hormonal factors that start to, affect you long term. So thank you for sharing, Allie. I'm still, so I'm going to take the host. Can I take it back, or do you have to give it back?
You can take it back.
I think you have to give it back.
Okay, I'll give it back.
So next, we're going to talk about a current Super Manly Fitness client, Tiffany. Tiffany's actually on the call today. Tiffany has been one of my clients for years, and a Super Manly Fitness client for about a year now. And here's where I'll share the screen. All right. So, Tiffany actually saw weight loss at the beginning of her reverse diet. She started off at 140, and we started her calories at about 1,800 calories. And Tiffany, correct me if I'm wrong, were you eating around 16 or less when you came in?
Probably less. Yeah.
Yeah. So even at 1,800 calories, she still was losing, and she lost all the way down into a low of 133.2 when she got down. So we reversed her all the way from April 1st all the way up to the end of the year, right? And we saw this little spike, and you can see it was really gradual. And then, the holidays, we saw a spike, just, probably holiday food and stress and all the things that come along with it. But at that point, she was like, okay, what happened? All right. So she started at 140. We worked her calories up. This is an amazing story, and this is one that I can't wait to share, is that by this time, Tiffany was eating 2,450 calories a day. Okay. And she was only up 4 pounds from her initial starting weight. That is right. So then New Year's day one, we started this weight loss phase, and now she's back down almost to a brand new low weight. We've lost about a little over 10 pounds at this point, and she's still at 2,100 calories, guys. So, Allie said she likes to take her clients down to about 1,500. So if we're nice and gradual about that, think about how much longer we have the potential to take her weight loss phase in, or maybe she hits her goal in the meantime. So, Tiffany, you want to tell us a little bit about your experience with this in your own words?
Yeah. So, when we started, Tom and I had made the decision to leave the gym that we were in, and we built our gym at home. So I knew that I knew what to eat, but getting the macro numbers right was what I really needed the help with. So, and I wasn't super concerned with losing weight. I wanted to be strong. I wanted to build muscle. I wanted to put on mass and all that fun stuff. So yeah, that's where we started. And, the extra food was glorious. I'm not going to complain about that a single bit. I loved it. I'm pretty happy with the amount of food I'm eating currently. So, you just chip away a little bit at a time, and the workouts feel good. I have enough energy to get through them most of the time. And I haven't had to change pant sizes, so that's good. Throughout this whole thing, I've stayed pretty much at the same size in my clothing. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And, like I said, the exciting part is that, we're going to see, is this close to as low as you've ever weighed since, how long has it been?
I have been far lower, but not healthy in any way, shape, or form. So, okay. Yeah, this is probably my lowest weight where I still feel strong and healthy and, relatively confident and comfortable with where I am. I can move more weight at the weight that I'm at now than I probably ever have before.
Yeah, I love that for you. I love that so much. Tiffany did a powerlifting meet a couple months ago and deadlifted like 285 pounds or something like that. It was a lot. She surprised herself. She's doing things that she never thought she'd do, and that's an amazing thing. So now we'll kick it over to you guys. Do you guys have any questions for Allie or myself? Anything in between, or Tiffany, somebody who's experienced it? Allie and Tiffany both, have experience from a perspective. Most of my clients are female, so I feel like you ladies would be able to relate a little bit. You hear from me all the time, so this is your chance to ask somebody else.
Adam, do you want to put it back to where we can see each other? Right now, I'm still looking at my graph.
Oh yeah, let me do that. Hey, there we go. And we got Susanna. Hi, Susanna.
Hey, sorry. I told Adam.
You're fine. Susanna's joining us from trivia night. I hope you win trivia night.
We'll see.
Okay.
We did well in the last round, but yeah, we're on break right now, and then I'll have to run back in. But Glad
Okay,
to join.
good. Well, do you guys have any questions about anything so far?
I know that the idea of eating more food and putting on pounds is not an easy one for most women to wrap our brains around and get comfortable in. So I don't know you guys. I don't know most of you except for Holly. Hi, Holly. But I know that as a woman, that can be a really tough thing to get comfortable with thinking about and knowing that that's going to happen. So, but I mean, I can tell you it comes back off. So it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and to what Tiffany said is that, yeah, there was pounds on the scale, but her jean size didn't change, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they might have been a little tighter or loose at certain phases of it, but the jean size didn't change, you know. And
You also have to think with more food, you have more glycogen, so you're gonna weigh more. Like
You'll
there's
retain
more
more
water. Carbs carry more water.
Yep.
And no one else knows what the scale says except for you and Adam.
You know, it's funny that you say that, Allie, because I can remember one time back when we were at the gym when you made the comment that nobody's walking around wearing their weight number like on the front of your shirt. You know, you're not painting on your chest. Nobody knows unless you tell them. And I remember you saying that, and it stuck with me.
Yeah, that's something like I used to worry so much about what the scale said, but like, who really knows what that says except for you?
Mm-hmm. Or who actually cares except for you? Nobody.
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 Yep. So just remember is that when you're, you know, a couple circumstances in which this might happen, and Allie, you'll probably be able to interject in some other circumstances like this. But, you know, somebody who's exercising, there might even be someone on this call who's doing something like this. They're exercising, you know, 5, 6, 7 days a week, and then they're under eating. So they're eating 1,500 or under calories when they have this high metabolic load that they're putting on themselves, you know. So somebody who's doing that, you know, we got 2 toggle switches, is nutrition and fitness, that we can kind of play with. And if you've already cranked your fitness up and knocked your nutrition down, we've got to rebuild it from there, you know. And that'll take some time. And like Allie said, you know, she said today, you know, and it made a lot of sense, is that she likes to do 6 months of reverse dieting and 6 months of fat loss each month. It would make sense that we start that around August. That way we can have a little bit more food leading into the fall. We get into sweater hoodie season when, you know, our pants are fitting a little tighter, and that's okay because we're building muscle through that time. And we don't want to do our cardio because it's cold outside, so it also fits there. And so as we get into the springtime, then we go into our fat loss phase and we fuel that cycle over time. And it's just about patience and consistency. And like Allie said, with the Tiffany's gold stars next to me here, is that consistency wins the game. Is that there will be blue stars or gray bars or whatever, but to just get yourself back on the track the next day. You know, life's going to throw things at you. You know, Tiffany juggles a lot of things on her plate, and she still doesn't make excuses. And she's been a trooper the whole way along the way to build those calories to almost 2,500 calories. That's amazing, you know? And
I also like to, Danielle, work out pretty frequently. I like to get a solid 5, maybe 6 days a week in, but I have to eat enough to do it. There's no way I could eat 1,500 calories and do that. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah, I got to the point where I was working out as much as I was eating and not losing weight. Because, like, I told Adam, I was like, this is not good. And I knew it.
No, it doesn't work for very long.
Yeah, the hardest thing for me so far is just like getting the calories in. I have not felt so full for 3 days in a row in my life. Like I literally sat on the couch after dinner and I was like, oh my gosh, still have to eat 300 calories.
I know.
But like, I don't feel horrible. I actually felt like I have more energy today than I have in quite a while, just from starting to, I think, feed myself again.
And your body will adjust to what you're eating. Like eventually it won't feel like a lot of food. Like it'll feel normal. Your metabolism will rev up and it'll feel good to get that many calories in.
Yep. Agreed.
And finding the right foods that fit into your lifestyle that make it easy for you to get those calories and all the things. Consistency, just figuring it out, you know. You're an athlete, right? And so it's about we either win or we learn, you know. That's it. That's all we do. So, great. I thank you all for sharing so much. Does anybody else have anything they want to say? Holly, you about ready to start yours?
Yeah, I think so.
Holly's starting to show some symptoms. She's about ready to go into her reverse, I think.
And that's a fun time. Like, I think reversing is harder for me than being in a fat loss phase because I think because I've done it so many times, I've always been in fat loss. Like, that was something that was in the structure, like, it just makes it easy for me. Reversing is kind of hard for me, like thinking of getting that many calories in. But once you start doing it for a little while, it does become easier. And the freedom of it is fun. Like, you can go out to eat more, or you can, fit more wine in. Or there are fun things that come with being in reverse.
And I think there are a lot of women that can relate to, like you said, they have always been in a fat phase, or always been in a fat loss, or needed to be in a fat loss, or thought they needed to be in a fat loss phase, or, so many women, until they get into till they have this knowledge, think that that's the only way, right? Is that they need to lose 5 pounds even when they were at their, lowest weight ever. And maybe they didn't need to at that time. So awesome. Well, thank you all for sharing. Thank you all for spending your Wednesday wine night with us. Cheers.
Cheers. And if any of you have any questions and want to ask me anything on the side, you can message me. That's fine.
Awesome. Well, thank you all thank you guys so much for joining us. Have a good rest of your Wednesday night.
Bye, guys.